All right, welcome back to the Central Valley Buzz, everybody. Let's bring in our next guest, Billy, Yvette Caldera. Yvette, hi, how's it going?
Hi.
And you brought a friend with you today?
Yes, Heather Huffman.
Hello, Heather. You ladies are here to talk about...
Domestic violence.
And how I met Cindy.
And Cindy is your mother?
Yes.
And your mother was killed by her boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend.
Her ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
At the time, they were broken up?
Yes.
And he came over, was he drunk?
We don't know.
Not that I'm aware of.
We don't know. On July 14th, we woke up. It was just a regular day. I had to run a quick errand, and Cindy was watching my nephew for me and stuff. I was gone not that very long, and when the car had broken down, I had gotten a phone call and I couldn't answer. I said, "The car's broke down. I'll call you right back."
What time of day is this?
This was about 12.
11:30.
It was 11:30, but at 12 o'clock when I got the phone.
In the morning.
Midday.
And, yeah, it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon when I got the phone call asking me, "Hey, Heather, where's your son?" I'm like, "My son? You mean my nephew?" Is one of the neighbors. And she said, "Well, is he with you?" And I'm like, "No, he's all, Heather, Cindy's been shot. You need to get here." That's what we were, I was
That's
told.
what we thought.
That's what we thought at the time. And so I don't know who these people were, but Cindy's car broke down, and then they gave me a ride. And all I remember is jumping out of a moving vehicle when I seen as we turned past the crime scene and was just running.
Where was this at?
This was
on
an El
Street,
Dorado.
my mom's residence.
El Dorado's
Yeah.
in what part of town?
On the west side
On
of
the west
Fresno.
side.
Okay, so these people just give you a ride.
Yeah, because
and
I'm like,
thank God, right?
Yeah,
It's out of
exactly.
nowhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
And they give you a ride. You come around the corner, you see all this
Yeah.
ambulance, cops.
And my first thought was my nephew, so I just literally jumped out of the vehicle saying thank you. It was still moving, and I jumped out and just took off running, and got to the office, and they were telling me calm down, and I see
Was
my
it an apartment?
Yeah, it was an apartment
Okay.
complex, and what had happened was Cindy. Apparently, Michael Reams showed up, and Cindy pushed my nephew outside, and
Why? Okay, he knocks on the door. She opens it.
He just
rushes in.
he just
We don't know.
We don't know
exactly
what happened.
He's inside the apartment.
Somehow
with
he
her-
gets in.
with her, but your mother, protecting the little boy,
Exactly.
pushes him outside the door, shuts the door, and
And
he's
my-
a lot more safe now.
Yeah,
at this
he's
point.
banging on the door. The neighbors heard.
How
and
old's the little boy?
My nephew is 2.
Okay.
Yes, and so little James was banging on the door saying, let me in," from crying from what the neighbors said. And so the neighbors swept my nephew up, took him to the office, and I get the call, and so I get down there, and the manager goes, he's okay. So I just scoop up my nephew, and I'm hugging him because I'm like, oh my gosh,
Frantic.
and
Right.
I'm glad that he's okay. And the police officer was making me think that Cindy was okay, that she's okay. I didn't find out that she had passed until the detective came in, and he was very rude and very hateful. And I was explaining to him how I knew Cindy. I met her at the Marjorie Mason Center. I go, I've known her for 7 years. We're best friends and stuff. And he kept on yelling at me. He's, I'm trying to figure out how you know the deceased. And I was like, she's
Heather was actually my mom's roommate. She moved in Saturday.
Yeah, Friday. I moved in Friday night.
Yes, my mom passed away
Monday morning. And so the detective, he says,
So your name's not on the paperwork for the apartment or anything.
we tried doing that. There were some problems with that, and
That's okay. And so you finally find out that Cindy had been shot. And
No.
No, my mom was stabbed.
Was stabbed. That's multiple times.
At
I
least
was told that
22
by the
times.
neighbor. The neighbor had told me that she was
shot.
I didn't know what had happened. They just the cop there that was sitting there with me and my nephew, because they wanted me to stay in the office to question me. I didn't find out that she passed away until the detective told me, and the officer said, "Wait a minute, she did not know that yet." And when I found out, I was completely devastated.
Did they catch this guy right then?
Yes,
Right then and there?
Actually, the officer
shot
when
him.
Fresno Police Department arrived, Michael Reams was alive and aware what he did, and he said that it was too late. And the officer shot the door and shot Michael Reams, and he landed on top of my mom. And by the time I got there to the crime scene, they had already had both suspects, my mom and Michael Reams, covered up. because Michael Reams had fell on my mom. And the Fresno Police Department and the emergency, they tried to revive my mom with CPR, but
it was too late.
And I'm sorry, okay?
Thank you.
And I know this is tough to talk about. But what I want to do is I want to go back further.
Okay.
I want to find out how this all came to be.
Okay.
You how long was this Michael Reams guy in your life?
He was never in my life. I only met him one time, and the one time that I did meet him, when you meet somebody's hand, you look them directly in their eye and say, "Hey, nice to meet you," and he never did that to me.
So how long was your mother seeing this guy?
I think they were off and on for like 6 to 8 months.
That's it?
Yes.
Yeah.
6 to 8 months. And you really didn't see anything. I mean, like, you met him one time.
Exactly.
He didn't look you in the eye. But did your mom lead on, like, hey, this guy is a little weird?
Michael Reams was on parole.
For?
And, domestic violence.
But Cindy did not know that at the time.
My mom did not know that.
He said it was for...
That's not your opening line,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
He told my mother that he had traffic tickets, which is true. He did have traffic tickets and other prior records that go back to 1992 for domestic violence.
Was he a drug user?
I think there was something in the record that he was as well.
Mm-hmm. Was he an alcoholic?
I don't know.
I believe so.
Did your mother ever tell you that this guy's been mean to me? This guy's hit me?
Well, my mom called Fresno Police Department in February of 2014. And that's when, because he had choked my mother. And that's when Fresno Police Department had told my mom the records of his past was of domestic violence. And they had told my mom, if you call us again, it's like calling...
Did they arrest him right then?
No.
Did they charge him?
No.
Honestly, I'm not too sure. I'm still trying to find that truth out today.
Okay, so she called the cops and said that this man had been choking her and nothing was done.
Yeah, they said that if she called again, it would just be like she's calling Wolf. They didn't believe her.
So the cops didn't even come out to the house and talk to her?
Yes, but as I'm aware of,
They take pictures of around her neck?
There was no crime number, or card left.
A case number.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm aware of, that there was never. But I'm still trying to find out that truth today.
Had your mother been in relationships before where she had been abused?
Yes.
Yes, that's how me and Cindy met. We both, because I'm a victim of domestic violence as well, and me and Cindy in 2008, I met Cindy at the Marjorie Mason Center, and me and her became very, very close. Cindy was...
So did you know this guy?
I did not know him. I knew of him. Cindy would talk about him a lot to me when I was in Virginia.
How would she talk about him? Favorably?
No, she said that he was very cruel to her and very mean to her and stuff. She didn't really say...
Was that her kind of man?
No, Cindy was a very loving, wonderful person, and she was just led on by the wrong man. We didn't see it. We didn't see it coming. When you're a victim of domestic violence, and I can say from personal,
you hide it.
You hide it, but you don't. You're an easy target. It's the
predators know who you are.
And they know how to manipulate you and everything else, and how to get you into their web of lies, like a spider web, how you're stuck and stuff, and to believe, and you think, oh, okay, well, they don't mean to. I can fix this. They just need help. I love this.
How many of those relationships have you been in?
I have been in, from childhood, and then adult was two. One was for about 4 years. I was dating a man, and I had to stay there because my mother would not let me see my daughter unless I stayed with him. I told my mom what was going on and I needed help, And every time I went to the Marjorie Mason Center, my mom would not let me see my daughter at the time. So it was
your mom a victim?
Yes, my father beat my mother. I don't remember it because I was little, but I do remember some things she told me. My father throwing me across the room. He would beat my mother because she would breastfeed me because he was jealous. The last abusive relationship I was in was with a man who is in jail right now for other charges. And that was the last domestic violence relationship that I've been in. And that one, it just sort of happened years later. He became abusive. My daughter witnessed some of the abuse. And so Cindy knew about how my family hardship is and everything else, how my family hasn't been really supportive. And so Cindy was like my mom. And so Cindy said, okay, well, move in with me. I'm going to help you. You know, we're going to work together. It's going to be like old times and stuff. Because we would talk about it. We would go.
My mom was just the type of person that just wanted to
help
everybody and
yeah.
see the good in everybody.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she tried to do with Heather and
Yeah.
her ex-boyfriend Michael Reams. You know.
Exactly.
And she just wanted to see the good.
The good in people, and then unfortunately she saw the good in the wrong person, and now her mom and my very best friend, who was like my mother, is gone.
But she died a hero.
But she died. She saved my nephew, James, and my little nephew. When he met Cindy, he was just attached to her hip. He'd call her Miss Cindy. He was with me that weekend because I would watch him for my brother, and he'd knock on the door. He'd get up out of bed and go knock on the door. Miss Cindy, let me in. I watch cartoons with you. He loved Cindy very much.
So you girls have a fund set up.
Yes.
And you'd like people to donate to that.
Exactly.
We're trying to get a foundation
started
in my mother's name.
And her
Cindy
name.
Rice
Raygoza's voice.
Foundation. And it's at County Federal Credit Union Bank. The number is 219-907 if you want to make a donation. And her Facebook page is Cindy Rice Raygoza, Stop Domestic Violence at Facebook.
And where's that money going to go to?
That is going to help other women of domestic violence. Say if a woman is in trouble and she needs to escape, we're going to use that money to help relocate her, to get her away, possibly relocate them out of Fresno, because it is very easy for the abuser to find them here because Fresno is a small place and people do talk. So to get them into a safe place, to help them get counseling and things that they do need to help, so they do not have to feel like they have to go back to their abuser because they have nowhere else to go.
All right, ladies. I want to thank you for your conversation. I know it wasn't easy.